Yeah, do you think that micromanaging is potentially a sign of being incompetent? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you micromanage people because you have this, you know that you can't do what they're doing, or if put in their position, they would shine brighter than you? Like, is that part of it? Is that like the psychology behind micromanagement?
Welcome in, closers. On this episode of Who the Fuck Closed Last Night, we're going to talk to Ryan Dunn. Ryan is a veteran bartender, a veteran server, and has so much knowledge and experience to share. On this episode, we're going to get into leadership, how to build a good team, how to maintain positivity in the restaurant, and the negative effects of micromanagement. So let's get into it.
All right, and we're actually already recording. We've been recording this entire time.
I love it, bitch.
Good. I was just about to admit to a bunch of crimes, so I'm glad.
Well, I will say I have a crime to confess right now. Thanks for having me on the show.
Nice.
Oh,
I have brought you guys one of my favorites,
Let's go.
and this kind of
wow.
this matches what you guys are all about. So
That's also our favorite.
little birdie for the boys. So,
Man.
listen, a little thank you from me to you guys for having me on. But truly, like it's from one bartender to others as well. It's just like
This is
little
incredible.
bartender's handshake from me to you guys.
That Fernet Branca. This is the bartender's handshake.
It's really,
It is. Does anybody actually know like the history?
Yeah, I know bits and pieces of it. It was an Italian thing for it is Italian, and it was done by a family, and I believe the family had like this like herbaceous culture. They like really loved it, and they didn't sell forever. And somehow, when the mechanism of like the bar industry really took off within the States, they started heavily pitching it to these bars, like, hey, put this in your drink, put this in your drink, put this in your drink. And somehow, I think New York was maybe where it was.
Yeah.
Blasted off.
I thought it was San Francisco. That's what I've heard.
So you're probably right. This is just what I recall. But
that's also like with a lot of other, like when things are popular, people want to say that their city.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
We started. Like
it was a New
started
York thing. It was a New York thing. San Francisco is like, what the hell?
Yeah. We also did this.
Like, you may be way over there, but we were doing it first.
Yeah. My the first time I heard about it, somebody told me that it was like the way it became the bartender's handshake was these bars had it and nobody ever drank it.
Yeah.
So it was like the easiest one to like drink a shifty and have nobody notice that it was gone.
Yeah, it's just like it slowly depletes over time. They're like, I think it was 0.5 count last week.
Right. Exactly. And they're like, it's fucking, that's all right. We have plenty of it. It's just sitting on the shelf.
I'll drop a quick little background about how we met. If you're a follower of the show, and because we started shooting getting close to a year ago now.
Yeah.
But I was working at a place called Keeney's, and then Keeney's closed, and then I got a job at this restaurant that I no longer work at, and you don't either.
Nope.
Called Church and Union, and I was there for a really short period of time, like less than 2 months. But we met. A lot of the people I met there, it was kind of a really hyped up place, which you know about it.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much I talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it ended up being stupid.
There was definitely some wrenches that got thrown at us.
Yeah.
But beautiful restaurant, to say the least. Like you walk in there, like it was really impressive in the first couple months. I mean, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And then
because you were one of the opening team members there,
so,
right?
So I helped them open. My role was very specific to just being a server or bartender, and I didn't really want to accept a larger role at that point because it's a new restaurant coming to town, and I just wanted to jump in and get in with a good group right off the bat. And Jacob came along, and immediately it was just like, this dude's the man. Yeah. Like, I remember actually the first time I walked into I saw him walk into the kitchen. I was talking to our head chef, and he comes around, and there's this big burly guy with a red beard and red hair, and he had these crazy black thick lens glasses on. He's like, "Oh, hey, chef, what's up?" And I'm like, "Do you know him? Like, who is this person?"
I had worked with Chef Darren before.
Darren's the man. I hope he's doing well. But it was regardless of any experience I work for, regardless of the outcome, I always try to find the most optimistic point to take from that. And like there was a lot of learning curves, even for me being in the industry for 20 plus years. It was like, okay, here's something different that I haven't really tried. Especially in recent years, because most of what I've been doing is high volume. And that was a touch of high volume with the table side service and, you know, like an elevated bar program. And it definitely had the ability to be, you know, something crazy, but it was fun, man. It was fun while it lasted.
Is that place still open?
Yeah.
I think they're still there.
I think I rode by it the other night because the two guys that hired me, one of them, he went to one of their other locations because they're from the South.
Yep.
And then Will actually texted me somewhat recently.
Oh,
it was
nice.
funny because Will is from Boise, Idaho, and I was on vacation driving to the Gorge in Washington, and I was like about to spend the evening in Boise. Like we had an Airbnb, and I was like on the outskirts of Boise, and he texted me. I was like, why did the guy from Boise just text me? It's not like we were like hanging out for real. I just kind of worked with him.
Right.
And I was like, why did you just text me just now when I'm
In Boise.
in where you're from?
Serendipity.
What the hell is going on? Yeah, I mean, it's like cool. I was also like, why does the universe work this way?
It's a mysterious
But he was
thing,
like,
man.
yeah, I left Church and Union. I was like, good.
Good for
'Cause
you.
we had, and I'm, you know.
Well,
I was-
what were the things that like went wrong?
Yeah,
with
I was
Church
kind of
and
hoping to chat about this a little bit, and my goal, because this is something that we're really wanting to talk about
Yeah.
in general,
No.
when we can get a little bit more investigative. So, to anyone listening, I'm speaking from personal experience about a topic that has a lot of variables, and I am no expert yet on it. And no knock on any of the individuals that are running that program or anything to disparage them in any way. I thought the food was delicious, great kitchen staff, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what this company did was they didn't do their homework for having a restaurant in Denver, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we that's a lot of us, you and I, getting to know each other was going through that whole thing.
Yeah.
Because essentially and I don't know how granular I need to get about it, but essentially they weren't like paying the appropriate minimum wage. They were like not basically breaking some local laws, which is a thing that can happen kind of accidentally, but it was to a point where a lot of people were really upset about it. There were a lot of people that didn't get other jobs in order to work at that restaurant because it was pretty hyped up
Yeah.
in the industry in Denver. Like when if you land on something that's opening, you're like, I want to get in. I want to be one of the OGs
you
there.
want to put your name on it, like
Yeah.
lock in, you really
and
concrete yourself into a new
just
program.
have your income set up. And this company was just not prepared to get into the market to get everyone paid the way that we would typically expect to get paid at a place at that price point. And I know we had a, I guess we didn't technically seek legal counsel. We talked to some employment lawyers to ask them some questions. They agreed to meet with a small group of us
Yeah.
employees just to find out what was going on.
Right.
And that's the long and short of it.
Yeah.
And the things they were doing
It was questionable.
it was questionable, and it's also
on
the
an
reflection.
ethical level.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, the big thing for me that I'll speak on is, for a very long period of time, it's like, you establish yourself, you're establishing a new restaurant, you're putting your name for what you've created for yourself within a community. Every single one of us that came into that had some type of, reputation for being an individual that was recognized in a positive outlook within the community. And, when we jumped in, the pay structure very rapidly and unbeknownst to us changed like that. And when you're, an employee that's working off of tips and, you're really perpetuating yourself due to the ability that you can provide, whether it's a type of service, education, skill set, the ability to manage people, time, whatever it may be, that just kind of seemed like it was like a non-issue for them. Like everyone was kind of like in this pool equally, regardless of, tenure or experience. There's a lot of people we'd be tableside and, doing bottle service, and, coworker comes up, they can't open up a bottle of wine, or they can't tell you the difference. And from my perspective, I'm all about education. If I'm going to work with someone in the industry, I will show you the way. As long as you show me that you're learning and you're adapting and like, hey, like I'm willing to admit that maybe I'm not at the tier that you are.
Right.
It got to the point where they didn't really care. You know, it was just kind of like putting bodies in a building. And I was like, and I've worked for other facilities before that have done similar things. And that's typically a scent in the wind for me where I'm just like, maybe this isn't the right program because, I'm going to install myself in the place that recognizes me for the skill sets that we have rather than just being another individual that's on a paycheck. So that was really like the final blow for me. That kind of like started my research to, see what else was out there and look around. But, that was the unfortunate thing. It's, I don't think that it's something that anyone should do is just drop that bomb when employees saying your pay structure is changing.
Oh yeah, and
today.
it was like essentially in a text. It was like an app,
Right.
Yeah.
right? That how they messaged everyone, the same little platform you would use to message your, if they had an announcement or post the pre-shoot notes or whatever, and they're like, hey, by the way, you're gonna get. Your pay structure is changing like this.
Yeah, and like it is no time to adapt with that because if we're all expecting like you create an average over 6, 7, 8 weeks of what your pay structure is like. You get a budget, you can juggle your finances, you can plan accordingly for time off, vacation, and all of a sudden, boom! It's like like a third of what I was generating was starting to appear, and that was with a long week.
Right.
So and like you occasionally you would get. A situation, especially with me being on the floor more than so behind the bar at the time, I would get like a large group and I would get a bigger chunk of that. But that was as a stipulation where it wasn't a guaranteed thing. So for me, it was just, it's just a tough way to like kind of like accept something rather than being able to plan. Like it'd been different if it was like 30 days and like, what, maybe this isn't going to work for me, vice versa. But it just like happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And, totally understand from a business standpoint, you have to make those decisions. But I also think that there is a very high lack of transparency and communication of that until it happened. It was more like accept this or
Find another job.
Like today kind of thing.
Yeah, and like even with like the CEO coming in and like
I remember you telling
trying
me.
to bully the staff in a weird way.
That was uncomfortable.
That was a weird situation. But I mean, it's the symptom, because like I said, I don't really want to necessarily blame the exact individuals for that company. Not that I am afraid to do so, but it's the symptom of like a larger issue that, especially the three of us have seen change as a whole, especially post-COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
With just the way that industries or professionals in our industry have gotten paid. I mean, I have one buddy who works at a place in Alabama, and he was bartending at this place that's still super hot in town. And I just remember talking to him, and he was, 2018, 2019, before COVID happened. He was a bartender, and he was, splitting tips with the other bartenders. That's always been a thing behind bars.
Absolutely.
You usually figure it out by who works the most hours. If you don't have like super even shifts, some places are like, yeah, we'll just split it evenly, whatever. And then if it's a restaurant, you would get a tip out percentage from the servers, right? That was pretty standard. But that was how that worked. Servers kept all their tips except what they tipped out to usually like support staff, bartenders, and they kept the rest of that money. Bartenders would tip out the support staff, but otherwise be getting tipped out XYZ. He was making like $70,000 a year or so, which is definitely a little higher for that city or on the upper end,
Right.
just because cost of living is a little lower around there compared to bigger cities, things like that. So that was a pretty good chunk of change. And then they swapped to, like after COVID, they swapped to a full house pool, which is where one that includes the people in the back of house, because kind of the traditional model of restaurants is paying the chefs and the back of house people. That's the business's cost.
Yeah.
Right.
And the tips, you're earning tips with a lower hourly wage, as low as $2.13 for the still federal minimum.
Yeah.
But then his money got cut. I was like, how much are you making a year now? He's like, oh, like 40, 45. I was like,
that's a
dog,
massive
like
cut.
you've taken a like 20 plus grand pay cut because the business can't afford to be a business. And of course he's loyal to them, and there's all those other little elements. But that's just like one version of what has happened to a lot of people in a lot of places. And the people that have been hit the hardest are servers and bartenders.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening very rapidly in Denver, to say the least. The company I'm with now, like I knew going into the job, like the layout and the stipulations, and I'm fine with it. To be honest, it makes sense now. If the restaurant was modeled differently and we had more staff, more employees, I don't think it would be as feasible for me. But it's it works when everyone understands that the common goal is, hey, let's just be the best unit that we can, because everyone's contributing, and if you don't know, you're going to stand on like a sore thumb, and it may not be the best fit. But not even to talk about the company I'm with directly right now, but for me, it's like you have to have like these understandings going into it. And it's like, when we took the job initially at CU, it was a much different.
It was a weird system to begin with too. I didn't even understand their initial system.
It took me a while to understand it.
It was kind of confusing.
But I always like to say, like, it should be an obligation of any facility that's running that type of structure to say, hey, every single night we're going to show you a breakdown for everyone. If we're pooling as a whole, it shouldn't really matter if we see who made what or whatever, if they worked more hours or if their point system's higher.
Absolutely.
You have to understand why they're at a higher structured system. It might be because they're more efficient. It might be because they have a more diverse background. But, it shouldn't be one of those things where we can't show everyone else's money. We really don't care about that. It should show, like, something I can reference to every night, which we did not have.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to obtain that information. And once again, that was just another striking point for me for be like, this isn't the right fit anymore, especially when the change happened.
That's frustrating because it is like, look, I think the one of the positive things of COVID is like places having more of a team service mentality, where it is split by hours, so that there's a lot of positives to that.
Yeah,
you're not sticking around after your shift because you don't want to give up your tables because it's based off of hours, or you're not, because you got a section that wasn't necessarily as busy as somebody else's section, like because it's a beautiful day and the patio's popping.
Yeah.
You're still, and it encourages people to run each other's food, run each other's drinks, help each other out as we're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But like, let's face it, in that old system, you were less likely to do that just because of the financial incentive to just take care of your own tables.
My drinks matter.
My drinks matter.
Yeah.
But that's where the weird stuff comes, is as these restaurants are trying to figure out this new system, and specifically in Denver, like to give some of these owners credit, we have a crazy minimum wage for
it's insane. It's wild.
It's what, $18.88 or something like
for
that
for non-tipped, and then like
for just if you work at Subway or McDonald's, that's your minimum.
Yeah,
sort
and then
of
it's
thing.
like what for us, like $16 or something like that.
It's
$15.75, I think, or 80 something last time I
you get
looked.
like a $3.
Difference of
It's
pay.
a $3 tax credit that the business gets that they don't have to pay you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But it is
Right.
like, and mostly for servers, like a lot of that just pays for your taxes if you're like a busy place and you're making a lot of tips. Like you're basically just paying for my taxes.
Yeah.
But I do understand that certain businesses are like, you're used to like $10 an hour for the rest of Colorado, and you've got to pay an extra $5 an hour per employee. That makes it to where you're either having to cut employees or like just manage this stuff. And I think that's where some of the grasping for like a way to continue to run the business, they get into shadier areas.
Yeah, and like the big thing about that too, I'd also like to notate is like, I always view working in restaurants like you're on a, like, let's just say you're on a football team, right? Mm-hmm. When you're going through off season, you're practicing every day with your teammates, and then you get red shirted or you get starters. And how does the red shirt start? They have to outperform the person that's in front of them. They have to show that they're showing up on time. They have to show up that they're meeting the coach's daily requirements. They're making great plays. They're making good decisions based on the team. And for me, in these decisions is when we start talking about cutting people or cutting employees. That's when really it should create an incentive for those employees to strive to be better and understand where they are rather than the complaint.
The performance being
it should be
a bigger thing, that like performance-based scheduling, performance-based preferred shifts, things like
Absolutely.
that.
Exactly.
Even
It's like-
performance-based sections, frankly. Like,
Yeah,
put
no.
your aces in places, man.
100% sections and days and hours.
Absolutely.
It's like, like not only will you have 40 hours, but it's not a Monday through Friday 40 hours. It's a Thursday through Sunday 40 hours.
Exactly.
And it's on the PM shift. And that's because that's when the traffic comes in. That's when the volume comes in. And frankly speaking, that's when most of the people are going to talk about their experience within the facility as well. It's like, I brought my wife out on our anniversary. It was a Friday night. The place was jamming, and we just didn't get the recognition. However, the table next to us seemed to have a much different segment. Were we being looked at as a lesser type of customer? Were we given somebody that doesn't necessarily know what this experience is supposed to be like? Why is it that this table next to us was, pitched the, chef special for the evening, which would have been something we would have loved to hear about, but we didn't get that mention because this person might be overwhelmed, or they might have gotten put in a section where, frankly speaking, was too advanced for them, or it's too much work, too much legwork. But for whatever reason, the individuals making these decisions want to play a level of fairness that really isn't fair, because it's not fair to the people that are experienced in the matter, that have dedicated themselves to, whether it's this career, this profession, even just your program in general. And, now these people are watching a negative experience happen that they have no control over. You can't necessarily intervene on that. Like, yeah, sure, I'll open the bottle of wine for you, but like, I can't go give them the spiel and then have you come in and deliver, a product that, you can't even talk about.
Totally, dude.
So-
I think it's also like knowing those strengths and weaknesses even to a deeper scale, because you do have like certain employees that are great at like tableside relationships and like building that tableside relationship, and they spend more time at tables, which on a very busy shift can be detrimental to other tables that either they have or other people have.
And that's the know-it-all too. It's like, it's the time management. It's like, great, hey, I'd love to continue this conversation, but I got your steak downstairs. Let me go ahead and get that for you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And putting those people in like a shift that's like, maybe it's a slower shift, but they have that time to build that, because there is that time for them.
Yeah.
It's like that balance. But I do think like the best servers know how to go back and forth, where you
100%.
recognize like, oh, it's 5 o'clock. I can spend more time with these tables right now until we get hit at 6:30.
Right.
And then I got to go, here's the specials. Here's like, the chef specials. Here's the special drink that we just rolled out.
Yeah.
I did my greet. I got to get onto another table.
Yeah, we'll be with you shortly. And it's also like, I think a very powerful thing that we have in our industry is being able to read people and have people follow our lead.
Yeah.
So like as a bartender, especially now, I'm in a very high volume facility, and we're not just putting out vodka sodas. I mean, we're putting out 6, 7, 8 step drinks sometimes, double shake egg whites, like 30 every couple minutes. It's it's high volume, but at the same time, you're entertaining, you're engaging, you're putting on a little show if you don't have time to talk. A little 10 flip goes a long way when people are waiting. It's just it's the charisma. Like, let them engage, but also manage what your tasks and your duties are.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the whole thing with me too. It's like, you and I actually talked about this a lot, Jacob, when we were at CU. It was being raised in the old school method of serving and bartending. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and after I decided to go to culinary school, I started working for a restaurant group run by this gentleman by the name of Ron Zobe. Now, Ron Zobe's no longer with us, but this man was a tough man, but he loved me. And I very rapidly grew in the company. They had one facility. It's still there. I highly recommend you guys take a look. If anyone's ever in Norfolk, Virginia, go see Bird and Baldwin Brothers Steakhouse. This place was built in an old school, really old school style courthouse. And underneath of the courthouse, just like with most courthouses, you have jail cells. So this place had a hurricane or something come through, massive flooding, massive damage to the building. It stayed vacant for years. When Bird and Baldwin took it over, they kept all of like the history of the building there. I mean, the safe is still there, all the jail cells are still there, but what they use for the jail cells now is like private wine storage. And there's people from all over the world that'll come in and store their wine in this building.
Wow.
Because of the humidity and natural temperature that it has sitting under the water level in this brick building. I mean, they don't even need humidifiers down there. It's just perfect for wine storage. So this program had a massive following. People from all over the state, even the country, would come in and dine here because, you know, Norfolk's a pretty big port of entry business area. So all these guys, especially with the naval groups and the naval ports, would come and have like their big dinners there. Mm-hmm. Man, Bill Rice and Ron Zobe, they taught me the old school way, and that was you are the paver of your own path. You can make as much money or as little money as you apply yourself to. If you know the product and you know how to carry yourself, you can manage your time. You'll eat well, you'll drink well, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And it was the people that would come in and they would have like the ability to chop them up with them and like, yeah, cool, we'll let you stage, and then they would plummet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was always a mentality I carried with me as I worked throughout the industry. It's like, try to be the best without being, you know, facetious about it, but like, you know, carry yourself with integrity, but also pass along the learning curve. It's like, you know, if someone is lesser than you, remember you've been there before too, mm-hmm. show them the way and allow them to eat well as long as they can follow that rubric. So working into Denver, you know, I was up in Aspen for years, and I'm sure we'll touch base on that at some point soon too, but coming down from Aspen into Denver, it just kind of became one of those things where a lot of these places I would work at following COVID would be, if I'm not on a strict pool system, you're literally in the pot with everybody else, and you got to call out the people who aren't carrying their weight. Mm-hmm. And like that becomes like that frustrating element with our industry. It's like, are you set up to let the good people find homage here and like really like create an identity with themselves within your company and allow them to like have a lifestyle that they can live that's comfortable? Or are you going to put them in a pool with people that you're going to feed the same, whether they choose to be as diligent or not?
Man, that's something. So I should have looked up the channel that this thing has been popping up on my Instagram feed, and it's this guy who's like giving in-depth training to different restaurants as a consultant. And one of the things that like popped on my feed that I loved was just because I'm running everybody's drinks and I see, you know, Fred over there on his phone, I don't lower my standards because of Fred.
Right.
Like, I don't stop the level of service I hold myself accountable to because of that guy.
Right.
But then it is important for you to pull that guy aside and tell him your standards and that he's not living up to those standards.
Yeah, but how do you do that? Because everyone's so sensitive today.
Oh, that's a
tough
well,
one.
you know, it's funny, you know, we've talked about it, I think, a little bit, you know, because he and I worked together at Postino. Mm-hmm. And you still work there, but yeah. I was a trainer with them, and one of the things that it's like I 50-50 agree with it. They call it calling in instead of calling out, mm-hmm. which, in my personal opinion, created this sort of fragile culture where you're an asshole if you call someone out that actually needs to be called out.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you should be calling in. It's like, oh, Fred, I just wanted to make sure you're like good today. Like, is everything okay? Because I noticed you weren't running drinks like we really expect, or that I would normally expect you to. So it's like, are you cool? Like, obviously, moving into a realm, getting away from the old guard thing where you're just everyone's an asshole all the time to each other is one thing, but sometimes you know, just like children need to be punished to learn things. Like, sometimes you need like a bartender or a server that has been outrunning you being like, get a fucking move on, dude. Like that sort of thing sometimes.
Put the pep in the step.
Yeah, I mean, it always reminds me of this when I was at my first white tablecloth place, and it was a very strict, sort of like rigid structure, and I was supposed to be filling waters and putting bread on tables that sat. Like, mm-hmm. that's was the majority of my job, and reset and really just pulling dirty things for courses, right? Servers were doing everything else. And then one time someone, like one of the tables, said something to me, and I like briefly like responded or whatever, and the server was just like, why are you talking to my fucking table? You're support. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't have to you don't talk on the floor.
Excuse me.
Which was, I mean, it's funny, it was some like coked out old server guy, but it's at the same time, it was like, your job is to fill waters, and like my job was not to talk to guests and make connections. Mm-hmm. he overreacted in
Sure.
that exact
Sure.
situation, I think. But it was important that I understood that my job was I'm not doing customer service that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
But-
the servers are the ones with personalities and stuff on the floor. There's shit I needed to get done,
Yeah.
and it was good for me to understand that. I understood the message
Yeah.
without him, even though he gave it to me in a bad way. Like I knew I was learning at that time
Yeah.
and trying to like develop the skill set, and so
Yeah.
it was like good and bad, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, the best advice I got from one of the leaders I look up to the most about like giving like feedback and stuff like that was, is it true and is it kind? So is what you're saying true, and are you going about it in a kind way? And mainly, are you not getting emotional and having an emotional reaction?
Right.
The other thing that she taught me was the good old fashioned shit sandwich, baby. That's where you you compliment them, you tell them what they're doing wrong, and then you compliment them again. So it's like, hey, Fred, man, you are really making great guest connections with your table, but you haven't run a single drink in the last 30 minutes, and we really need you to like keep looking and focusing on the well. But again, thanks for bumping up those tips with the guests you've made connections with, shit like that.
Yeah.
But that was the main thing. Is it's like. And you know what? Sometimes people react emotionally when they get feedback, even if it is like you are saying it in a good way.
Right.
And in those instances, I don't give a fuck about your reaction. Like at that point, if it's like, if I wasn't mean to you, if I just gave you honest feedback and you accepted it poorly, that's now on you.
Yeah.
And it is harder when you're not in a leadership role, because as a leader, you can just be like, well, whatever, fuck this guy. I can like,
It's your job.
Yeah.
It's like, but other people, they'll get offended.
Exactly.
And that's the tough part.
It is. And as long as it's like there's nothing that was said that they can, more of a sensitivity these days.
Very much so.
And then it's frustrating.
Or either that, or the way the avenue that someone being sensitive has to be validated in that, and that be taken more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the past, someone who was being sensitive was like, dude, just go cry in the walk-in sort of thing. Whereas now it's like, that's a thing that can lead to you being written up,
Yeah.
And there's good things that come along with that too, right? There's weird and gross parts of the service industry that have started to go away.
Yeah.
There's not the, creepy bartender dudes hitting on the hosts that
Right.
feel like they rule the world and are just kind of running amok by
And
being
you're-
a creep sort of thing. That's not as common of a thing to see now.
Yeah, there's not a lot of yelling and screaming and cussing.
Yeah,
and
people
stuff
aren't
like
throwing
people
shit
do.
at each other in the kitchens.
Yeah, because that was
as much
toxic
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that's the kitchens that we all grew up in. Was you'd get the frying pan flung at you if you barked back.
I got wings thrown at me when I worked at a fast food chicken restaurant because it was this old school. He was like a fine dining guy who was, I guess, had gotten basically fired and blacklisted for being a cokehead. I think that's kind of the to the point where he was then like working at his Zaxby's, but still had that sort of.
Yep.
Which I mean, he I can't remember if I told this in one of our stories, one of our other episodes or not, but he said that when he hired me, he would hire people. He'd say I'm an equal opportunity asshole.
It's fair.
And then he would do the thing where, he'd hire someone and it'd be like, Ryan, guess who I just hired? And you're like, who? He's like, your replacement. You start training him tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Like that sort of thing. Just like fucking with you. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
But he also would say like everything between open and close is a personal.
Sure.
Which
Sure.
developed me, and I worked with a lot of my friends like in high school, and it kind of helped us. We would kind of like get pissed at each other because of being busy at work and stuff, but we would just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And so it did create this skill set for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of other people, where even if it felt super serious at work, I am going to leave it right there at work. And I will go get a beer with these people or
just
or not, and
decompress together afterwards. It's like, tensions get high in a restaurant. It's high volume. You're dealing with wants and demands. Everything has a shelf life once it's produced. I mean, that rare steak is, it's not going to be the same if it sits in the window for 10 minutes. You got to get it done, and like that creates that what'd you call it, like turbulence when
Yeah.
you're working together. But that's the best thing, though. It's like, I think it's vastly important for you to have a good relationship with all of your coworkers, whether they're friends outside of work or not, but just to like have that moment of decompression together at the end of the shift, get a playlist on that everyone likes, sit down, just kind of vibe out, have that, shifty to me is extremely important, especially after grinding out as long as you do, because it's like coming together very quickly and just having that quick little, hey, all right, we're good, everything's straight, we're fine, let's move forward,
Right,
tomorrow's
right.
a new day.
Yeah, I think it actually goes both ways. Really, it's like leave the things at work, right? Leave
Yep.
those moments at work, but also leave your personal life out of work. Like that should be an escape.
Oh man.
And it's I think
How bad is our industry at that?
Oh my God.
I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, guilty also.
Yeah,
Very guilty.
Because when you look at it, some of this stuff, it ends up affecting everybody's money, right? Like if you
Yeah.
come in and you just broke up with your girlfriend. Well, dude, to me, it's like either call in, take a day off, or realize that this isn't escape right now. You don't have to think about that for the next 5 hours unless you choose to.
Yeah.
But if you bring that attitude to your tables, well, all of a sudden they're getting less of a good experience.
Oh yeah.
And they at best might tip you a little less. At worst, they might never come again, and it affects everybody's money.
Yeah, and that's word of mouth too. I mean, it starts like, why would you not go back there? It's like, oh, well, my experience wasn't great, or my experience was terrible, or I had a wonderful experience there before, and I see it declining, type of thing. Even if it's not, it's just that one experience that you never know who you're really serving or talking to, and like their impact with people to, communicate whether or not their experience is something they would recommend. Guilty full on of like not being able to leave work at home or leave personal life at home sometimes to come in, but sometimes as well it's like you work with people so much that you have that camaraderie, especially in great environments. I will say right now the two teams I'm working on between iPoppy and Forget Me Not have been without question two of the best groups of people I've worked with in a long time, because everyone gets it. It's not always as fluid as it could be, but it's without question in the past 10 years one of like my favorite groups of people to work alongside and kind of like get this endeavor with. I mean, I want everyone to have their aspirations, and I do want to know a little something about them outside of work, so we have that extra touch of personal relation. But I haven't personally experienced this in either one of the restaurants that I'm with right now, as where like that toxicity from someone else's out, like external life will come in. We've sent people home being like, hey, you're not even being penalized, like go handle your stuff.
You just got to get out. We can't have this right now.
We'll throw an extra brick in the bag. Like go manage your day. We'll see you tomorrow, and we're good to go.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Like,
I think
great.
that's so important.
Yeah.
When I was a manager,
When you have a strong team, sorry to cut you off,
no,
but like
right.
that's also one of the benefits is like that you mentioned with having a strong team. You can make those types of decisions when every individual is showing up, and when you're surrounded. A lot of times, the term we've used a lot, I feel like I mentioned this to you before, when you have mostly lifers,
Yep.
people that like this is their big kid job, or if it isn't, they at least take it seriously enough to where whatever other this is supporting their other big dreams in their life, so this is their job, like this is what I'm going to be when I grow up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you're able to not only just have better moment-to-moment interactions, but also you can make those decisions like, we got to get, Chad out of here tonight. Like, it's fucking whatever is going on. Yeah,
dude.
that sort of thing, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally,
it's
dude.
tough.
I think that is, it speaks to, so when you have that, like you're talking about, when you have each other's backs, and when you have managers that have your employees' backs, where they do notice that stuff of like, look, man, so-and-so just like tweaks their back. You can see them limping, like, it's gonna suck for the rush, but it's important for us to have their back and send them home. Or if it's an emotional thing, I've had employees when I was managing come up and be like, "Look, man, I'm just like mentally, I am not here today."
Right.
Well, cool. The team's gonna have your back today.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, those people are more loyal to each other and to the restaurant as a whole.
100%. And it's also a great asset to have if you're managing, to be able to do the jobs of the people you're managing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is my rule of thumb. It's like, I've had so many instances before, and I'm not going to say anything specifically, but I will tell you, when we could not cut people because the manager could not get behind the bar, or the manager didn't know how to run food properly, or was creating chaos in the kitchen. I mean, when I was at Fish and Beer, I was a GM there before, during, and just after COVID. The amount of times I had to get in the dish pit and just wash dishes and tell two of my guys on the floor, I'm like, hey, I know you guys are just serving today, but you're also going to be working the door because the host called out and we don't have a guy that's going to be washing dishes. So I'm going to be back here making sure that we can have clean plates, run food, get things done, pop out systematically as necessary. But, you know, by the end of the shift, I'm covered in water, but that's just the name of the game. That's running a restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you can't be a manager if you can't do the people's jobs that you're seeing over.
That also builds like that trust from those employees. So like if you have a manager that's willing to jump in the trenches, as opposed to, look, man, like I know you got stuff to do on the computer, but you should be able to manage that to the point.
I have to take a break.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
I figured one day this would happen.
Yeah.
I think this is the first like real restaurant break, serious break in the middle of service that I've had in the podcast.
Yeah, are we hitting pause for a second?
Whatever.
Yeah, we can hit pause.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even have to pause it. We can just.
Oh yeah, we can just roll it. Let's keep it rolling. Yeah, because we got both of us.
Whatever.
All right. Chad and Ryan's.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
But like when you do have those managers that are willing to jump in the trenches and really like get through a rush,
Yeah.
all of a sudden that type of manager, when you have somebody call out and you call an employee to see if that they can fill in, they're way more likely to do that if you showed them that you're going to have their back. They'll have your back in those situations.
100%. It's like, you know, like the amount of times that I've been asked to come in and it's my day off and I'm just like, dude, I'm just tired of being at this place right now.
Totally.
Because I feel I'm carrying a workload that's greater than anyone else's, and you're calling me because you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than like, hey, I could do this, but we're gonna be really busy, and you know, blah blah blah, X, Y, and Z. You're like, okay, yeah, you know what? You had my back last Saturday when you know someone cut their hand, and you got back there and whipped out, and I didn't get weeded as the only bartender working the well on the bar top. You know, now you're back here grinding out with me, and the drinks are good. We're running efficiently, and I'm not going to be here for another 2 hours because of someone being offline for 25 minutes, as well as my tips aren't going to dive, and people are going to walk out or just be disgruntled, and you're just doing customer repair management because of, you know, a margarita that got put 10th in line. Took 20 minutes to get up because you're also dealing with the bar top and your ticket wells is going off. You know, they jump in and can make the drink. Hey, you know what? That's someone you can follow. It's like, you know, the war.
Yeah.
You look at, like, you know, admirals and generals, like those guys weren't just promoted coming out of boot camp. Those guys probably fought in the trenches for a while too. Had some, you know, tokens of valor that, you know, earn the respect of the people that they're, you know, putting in the positions that they are. And it's like, to me, that's essential.
Oh yeah. Man. This is kind of a sidebar, but have you ever seen Band of Brothers?
Yeah, of course.
I think that is the not only just an incredible series, but I think it should be mandatory for any leader to watch, because it shows so many lessons of what a good leader is like.
Yeah.
And that first episode, because I know we both worked with managers like this, where you got this guy who is micromanaging everybody, who is always pointing out everybody else's flaws, never complimenting anybody. And then when they get into the shit, when they get into the trenches, it's just a training drill. It's obvious that this guy has no fucking clue what he's doing.
Yeah.
To the point where, you know, these guys actually rebel against him. Like they're dealing with more like literal life and death.
Yeah.
But they're literally like, we're about to get shipped off. I don't want to fucking have this guy in charge of me because he's going to get us killed.
Yep.
Now in the restaurant, there's a similar thing. If you're somebody that's like micromanaging everybody, pointing out all their flaws, never complimenting them, and then when it's the busy time of the day and you're running around with like a chicken with your head cut off and it's obvious to everybody you don't know what you're doing, the trust of your team is out the window, and people will start leaving left and right too.
Yeah. Do you think that micromanaging is potentially a sign of being incompetent? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you micromanage people because you have this, you know that you can't do what they're doing, or if put in their position, they would shine brighter than you? Like, is that part of it? Is that like the psychology behind micromanagement?
Dude, I think that you nailed it for a lot of people. You know, I'm sure that there's different reasons that people do it, but I do think that it all goes back to insecurity.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's like, oh, I need to show the people above me that I'm doing stuff and making decisions. But I do agree with you. I think that many times it's just that mentality of, I need to prove that I'm the boss, and even though I can't do what these guys are doing, I'm going to correct stuff about what they're doing without actually fully knowing the job.
Yeah, I've experienced that so much more frequently, especially once again getting back to like these new systems that are put in place. Man, the amount of times that I've had to look at somebody and be like, "What are you telling me?" Like, and it'll be like, you do wine service like this. I'm like, okay, like I'm not going to check you in front of 10 people right now because once again, conflict.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, we're about to go on the shift, but you're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you have no idea.
Right.
It's like, like, hey, this is how you open a bottle of champagne and your thumb's not over the cork.
Yeah.
I'm like,
dude,
hold up.
Yeah.
Like, aim that thing somewhere else real quick. Like, and it's not even that, but it's, for me, I really do believe that as a leader, the leaders and the best leaders are the calm, cool, and collective, because they believe in the staff that they've installed. They believe in the people that are working the positions that they're in. I have had the most success not only with profitability, but execution and just being very compact with my workload, and just being able to mediate and manage that on my own without someone else coming in and managing it. But when I've had the managers come in and try to manage the bar during a rush, it's like, like, hey, you got to trust us. Like, like we're in the weeds. This is a common thing. We're in the weeds because we're busy, and we're busy because people want to be here.
Yep.
It's different if we're in the weeds because, once again, Trevor's on his phone over here, or Amanda's, walking out back, taking, 10 phone calls, in the middle of shift. That's different. Manage that.
Totally.
But when the bar's moving and the play's happening, the coach doesn't run on the field when the quarterback starts, getting tackled. Let him find his way out of it or not.
No. Oh, hold on. Jacob's on the phone.
He's Jacob calling him.
What's up, buddy?
The door locks. The door's locked. you gotta let me in.
I knocked. I was like, they're not gonna perceive that knock at all.
I think we got
They're
that on
locked in,
mic. I put you right here.
They
So.
a good little touch.
Dude, I'm gonna pass this question to you. Actually, ask that question again to Jacob.
Yeah,
'cause
so-
What are we talking about?
Sorry about micromanagement.
Sorry, I had
so-
to take that. What do we call it? Take it 7:30.
7:30.
Nice. I brought the question to mind. Do you believe that micromanagement is in somewhat someone's way of hiding their incompetency? So you have like a manager that's constantly micromanaging the staff, and is it because they don't know what to do, so they're going to pick out small flaws that everyone else is doing during the activation of service?
Man, I like how specific that question is, because it is such a broad topic and a very common thing to deal with in our industry is micromanaging, which first off, I find it funny when you have a general manager that micromanages, and I'm always struggling to not say like, you're not generally managing right now.
Yeah.
Like you're not generally doing shit right now. You should be. I would say yes. I think that my experiences with micromanaging managers, so definitely in the scope of, really even, especially behind bars, a little less so with serving floors, but behind bars, when you even have like a bar lead or just someone, and anecdotally, as misogynistic as it sounds, anytime I work with girl bartenders, it's like that sort of, like, I think it's a combination, not necessarily incompetence every time, because these people do know things, but I think it's the outcome of an emotional response to feeling busy or being in the weeds. I know when I've been an asshole to people and I've sort of, given someone shit for something they're doing that I perceive as wrong, is like, a lot of times that has come from me feeling like I was losing control, or that I didn't know something, or, my mistakes were, or my incompetence or my inability to like feel like I knew how to handle it.
Right.
So I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and this is it's kind of great because I was really hoping to be able to kind of turn the conversation in this direction because I feel like it's unique to our industry because of that fast pace, that turbulence that you said earlier. It creates these moments where people's emotional responses shift the vibe of the shift. And a lot of times when it comes from a leader that's actively micromanaging, that can change the energy of the whole room, which affects everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not, so my brother works in tech, and I've talked to him about a lot of different things, and we've talked to your sister about things as well. And maybe you have some friends in life that are in other industries, and like just the way other industries view like interacting at work, like the way people handle emotionally like a mistake being made. So many times, how many times have we all had like a manager be like, you can't do that way, this is affecting XYZ, whatever, usually in a micromanaging way, instead of them having the mindset in their workspace, which I don't want to speak ill about managers I have now, but I basically have examples of both styles in my leadership team currently from time to time, where like when that mistake happens, when you're in charge, when you're, say, steak is a bad temperature, the wrong temperature or something.
Right.
Like the manager one should have like the grace and like the understanding that they're the problem solver, so they just go solve the problem. If they try to like coach you or tell you what you did wrong while you also have a bunch of tables or a bunch of other guests, like that's
not the time.
No, not at all.
Now you're micromanaging, right?
Yep.
But in so many other industries and like workforces as a whole, it's like I'm not gonna be bothered, or how I think people should be dealing with it is, this is just a work thing. This is you have your list when you're managing a restaurant. You're a general manager, which you've both done managing. I've never been a manager, but it's just all raw information.
Right.
A mistake happened here. The server did this. I fixed this. And it's just, that's tallying where you're at as a business. And then your job is to continue to find solutions. And it's not an emotionally based thing at all. It's like, this is what happened. This is what we don't want to happen that happened. This is what did happen. We want that to continue. But you have so frequently either, I guess, kind of back to your initial question, I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but whatever.
It's a podcast. That's what we do.
I feel like it would come from incompetence, where they don't feel like they really know how to fix problems as a whole. They're like, they don't see a solution to the problem of servers not greeting on time, and they're just mad about it, and they're just emotionally responding, and now they're micromanaging.
Right.
And you see it a lot of times with people who maybe they've taken on a bigger managerial role than they should have, or maybe they were just one of those people that like got a good serving job at one restaurant, and they thought they were great because they learned that menu, but that's not the same as having swaths of knowledge that can apply to any restaurant, right? So suddenly they don't. They're in a new environment. They're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Right. So
not to bring it. Well, I want to bring it back to this. The guy on Instagram. I should know what the fuck their thing is called.
The people that do like the consulting and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know this guy's name.
I think I hate those guys.
Oh well, I like this guy.
I'm indifferent, to be honest. I've seen some videos. I'm like, God.
Some of it's good.
No,
he said,
they make some good points.
They make some good points. He said that nobody is ever extremely upset if like their meal that was supposed to come out in 10 minutes comes out in 20, that their steak was cooked at the wrong temperature, that something was burned. It's not those things, it's how you respond to it that makes them upset.
They remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, exactly. They do. So if something goes wrong...
They don't remember what they ate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for managers too, especially like people in that, instead of getting upset, knowing how to correct the mistake in the moment and have the conversation properly with that guest to mitigate any mistakes that were made, because mistakes are going to happen.
Right.
And like you were talking about vibe, if they bring down the entire vibe of the staff, that's going to spread to the customers. So now, yeah, that steak that was cooked at the wrong temperature, instead of it not being a big deal, it's a big deal to these people because they felt ignored during this process of a micromanager just like yelling at the kitchen, yelling at the
Right.
employees, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's so many ways to fix things. I
There
mean,
are
like,
some.
every single person has their, like, their own personality and their own way to either connect with the guests or fix things. And most restaurants, you have the ability to say, hey, I'm going to discount this, take this off, or I'm going to send you this, while you're enjoying your dinner, a little extra something. Like, there's ways around it that don't cost the restaurant tons of money. But ultimately, if you can't fix the solution and you create a bad guest experience, they leave, they don't come back. You're depleting yourself of revenue for someone that already showed engagement with you. And that's a huge factor for me. When I talk about micromanagement and it's almost like the weaponization of micromanagement. Like, we've all seen the people that don't necessarily fit in. You can't just fire them. So what you start doing is you micromanage them. You kind of feel like they push them out the door. And we all know that tactic. Everyone's experienced that. For me, I feel like people do that unintentionally because of their inability to jump into whatever situation as gracefully as maybe one of their employees will. And Jacob, I don't think you were in the room when we mentioned this. I think for me, the most successful restaurants are when you have a leader that believes and trusts in the team that they've built and are allowing to be an individual that they manage within the facility. If you are a leader and you have these people that you trust, you can be the general manager and generally manage everything. You don't need to focus in on a specific thing. Now here we go again. Like, if you have a constant screw up where it's like, oh, you're scooping ice out the well with the glass, or something bad happens. I'm even guilty of having situations where, like, I'm not even saying the place, but I had a Zen pack. I pulled Zen out because I was slammed. I mean, I was weeded beyond belief. I opened my Zen pack. I got bumped by the guy who was working out of the well next to me. Zens everywhere.
Oh no, dude!
So with that being said,
The nicotine.
but like, not only am I scrambling to pick it up, and I'm like, all right, cool. I think I got everything. I was looking around. 10 minutes later, someone comes back and there's a Zen and a fucking cocktail.
Oh no!
I know.
And
it was
it'll
me.
infuse, right? That
you're
sounds
welcome.
delicious.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
that's what I said.
Now it's on the house, baby.
Yeah,
Enjoy the buzz.
Yeah, you feeling good?
They're like, I quit smoking
But, like,
5 years ago.
That definitely
I'm back
happened
on
to
now.
me, and like that was like, okay, like, here's my check. Like, I am not going to scramble like that. I'm not going to be around the well with this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it was just a freak accident. And like, 20-something years of bartending, I think I may have had a couple pieces of glass and 1 or 2 drinks. And that could be from sharing a well with somebody else that didn't drain or clean it properly. You never know where it comes from.
Sure.
But the Zen thing, man, that was my Zencident. and
Bam! There it is.
Yeah, and
I love that.
And I ate it hard. Like, I was like, look, Eddie, you got to do what you got to do at this point. Like, that's on me. It's no one else's fault. But
Yeah.
it's just
Was the guest how, like,
it was.
did it get served to the guest?
It did.
Oh,
But the
no.
thing is,
How
I
did
knew
they-
him.
or
I
did-
knew the guest.
yeah.
So the guest comes up. He's like, Ryan Dunn, what the hell? I'm like, dude, just get it back to me. Like, I need it right now.
Oh man,
It was
you
tough.
had the wherewithal to be like, you don't like that? I get a riff, dude. Like,
Yeah, and he's like, if I knew it was you, I wouldn't have said anything, bro. And I'm like, dude, it's all good. Like, that's, once again, that's like, like, you gotta, like, also being a bartender is like, you also have to be able to accept responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
And when you get into a position, I'm very, very rapidly working towards that with the group that I'm with. I'm also understanding that a lot of people have been there much longer than me. So, like, I'm just, I'm humbled to be working alongside them and the volume on the shifts that I'm getting. But when you get to that position, you got to take ownership of things from time to time,
man.
too. And that's when management comes in and, like, now, please, respectfully, manage me.
Absolutely.
Like,
you saying accountability. I know we have a mutual coworker / friend that we both worked with, but not at the same time, Murph.
Oh, yeah.
And he hadn't been bartending a long time. I think he's so fucking awesome. I just want to sing his praises.
He was
for a
my
second.
favorite person to
But,
work
like,
with over there for a
But
hot minute.
I don't know. Maybe you've experienced it. I know it was something he would do when we were at Keeney's. You mentioned like
I
if
don't
Brendan
know.
like does
Murph,
something.
you're about to be exposed.
No, it's just like if he made the wrong drink or something. He just straight up says, hand up, accountability.
Oh, nice.
That was me.
Yeah.
He's like, that's
On me.
I fucked
He
up.
walked right to the firing squad. He's like, no,
Yeah,
everybody
he's-
stay back. I'll take the shots here.
Yeah, no, it's just great because just as the amount of times that I have and servers will say the kitchen fucked up or something when like they messed up, but this idea and a lot of some of what we're talking about and something I think that plays so well for guests, and I've been trying to utilize this more, is the crazy notion that you are a human being as well. And when you're just you just have that brief moment of honesty, not like not being shit at your job and then telling your guests you're shit at your job. That's why their dinner sucks.
Yeah.
But just you have that brief moment of, we had a communication error, or this is what we did because we made a mistake, or whatever. Just
Yeah.
that brief moment. Even sometimes, like the water pitchers we have, sometimes I just like overdo it and like something splashes up. I'm like, I'm sorry, I've only been doing this for 17 years. I'm still gonna get. And you guys have definitely seen it because you're more of the personable type of service worker, where like you see that guest like just like relax, like they're at a friend's house,
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like when someone comes over and you're like, sorry about the mess, I live here. Something like that
Yeah.
makes someone just,
It's
I'm
being like
I'm in a
humility,
real place with real
This
people
is-
right now.
it's
Like,
like,
this isn't
just
a
a
stuffy
person.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just a dude just trying to make it through life just like everybody else. Sorry about the
Exactly.
water.
Yeah.
It's funny though, man. Like, I think that's a fun thing about bartending too. It's like the amount of times, especially during a rush, where I'll like get the tin and go and flip it. I'm like, ugh, and it like hits, it's like bang bang all over the floor, and everyone's like, oh, and I'm just like, ugh, and it's like it's gracefully bow, do your thing, and I was like, all right, back to it. It's like there's gonna be bumps in the road.
Just put that anywhere.
Well, and the
Set
thing,
it down anywhere.
and the beautiful thing is, I know all of us have bartending experience, right?
Yeah.
So we're creating as well as providing a guest service. So it's not only just the knowledge of what we're serving them, but the ability to create that and to do it consistently under pressure at for a lot of us for an extended period of time. Like you're going to slip up from time to time, and as a manager and as someone who sees that, like that's just like hey man, it's my reality check. We're all human. We're just here. We're just trying to get by together, and that creates a nice little light humor to it as well. Yeah. It's like you idiot, like
And
there you go.
Kind of tying it to micromanaging, that mentality, especially from a manager or even from a coworker, micromanaging someone else doesn't give room for that human element.
Exactly.
Because you're also assuming that, like, Ryan doesn't want to put Zens in people's drinks. I think that most anyone that works with you should be able to assume that is not something that you would like to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when the mistake is presented to you, you don't need like a lecture on why we should be concerned about health and safety standards and all this shit, right? Like, just letting you know that you did this should provide all the information for you as a professional.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which it clearly did.
Yeah, I definitely had consequences coming out of that, but once I wrapped up my little punishment per se,
Yeah.
because you gotta do something, and I understood that, and I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Came back and the managers are like, hey dude, listen, no more Zens, right? And I was just like, yeah, and I'm like tucking this thing up here a little further. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that, but like it's all laughing matters after the situation's dealt with, and you just gotta handle it with grace.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I think the best managers too will know, because there's different. You can't treat everybody the exact same, straight up. Like
No.
even when it comes to punishment, if you've got an employee that is your worst employee and is constantly fucking up the exact same thing, then your punishment for that person is not the same as the guy who did it once. My favorite example is this, like, so I was working at this place and I had this great manager. His name was Champ Jones, incredible guy. I had never been late ever. Like, I hate being late. I fucking absolutely, I think I called out like one time.
Yeah.
And I was on this gig, And I told him, I was like, hey, man, I'm going to be like an hour and a half late. And then I'm on this gig and my phone dies. And we're shooting in the middle of a Total Wine. And I have no outlets around me. And I have no way to get my phone charged. And I am like 4 hours late. And so I show up. I immediately go into the office. And I was like, hey, dude, I'm so sorry. And he turns around and he was like, dude, just go home. I can't even look at you right now. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Isn't that the worst? Anxiety.
The worst.
It's like
Yeah.
lightning bolts of anxiety are going through me right now.
Yeah, dude.
It's
Oh,
like,
man.
I know that feeling.
But what I
I'm
didn't...
not mad. I'm disappointed.
Dude, exactly. What I didn't know, that another person had not shown up to work that day in the kitchen. And that person had not shown up because they had passed away from an overdose. So he thought, great, I've got this other employee that's like, he's already like sad, stressed out,
Yeah.
all this shit. Anyways,
Damn.
I knew something was coming, and he calls me up and he's like, Chad, meet me at this other location. And I do, and he sits me down and we have dinner together. And he buys my drinks and buys my dinner. And then he says, yeah, man, look, this is what happened. This was the situation. I know you're not like that, but like, I'm going to have to write you up for being 4 hours late. And I was like, I mean, you should have fired me. And
Yeah.
like, you had every right to fire me. But
Sure.
him showing me that grace in that moment made me so loyal to that dude. I would do anything for that.
That's what
Yeah.
it takes, man. And like that's the humility that, you know, I like to speak on. It's like right now, like the management team that I have, you know, I've got a lot of extra things happening. Like I just finished a move. You know, we're getting situated with me working between two facilities. It's a bit complicated with like the scheduling apps. Like, you know, one schedule or one restaurant I have one login, the other one I have another. I was wrapping up golf recently on a Wednesday, and I'm like, I'm exhausted. Thankfully, I didn't drink this day when I was golfing. I was just out there to play and trying to get my, you know, my gin down a little bit. But regardless, and gin, not gin. Gin is the USGA for your handicap, by the way.
wow.
So I'm not trying to get
I was
my
like, I
gin
thought
down.
you just said you weren't
I had to clarify. But no,
It's like, if it's clear liquor, it doesn't count as drinking. That's medicating.
So I work in Cherry Creek, and I'm like literally like this morning before golf, I moved and packed so many things, and I was like, I'm going to the golf course. I thought I had the whole day off, and I'm cruising down 25. I'm sitting in that 5 o'clock rush, and my buddy texts me. He's one of my managers, and he's just like, "Hey, what time are you coming in, dude?" And I'm just like, it's like 5:15. And I'm like, literally, I'm just like sitting in traffic. I just could get like the cold sweats. I'm like, no. And then like, of course, I like go through my emails, and there it is. It's like 5 o'clock, and it's like 5:15. So I'm not even that late. But I had just walked 18 holes and moved all morning. And I like run home, shower, get up there, and I'm like expecting, you know, not termination by any means, but like, here's, you know, we got to talk, you know, here's this. And he comes up to me, he goes, Ryan, he's like, you're my guy, dude. You're good. He's like, totally get it.
Right.
And I was an hour late, and thankfully it wasn't that busy, but we were training a new bartender behind the bar. I had two guys that had opened that they had plans for that night, but everyone was just so gracious about it. And that's truly, it's not even about the money at this point with me. It's like I can go to work, and I know that the people I work with in both facilities have my best interests and understand me as a human and understand being a human in general. It's like we trip up, and if it's not a consistent habit, we'll just talk about it and, you know, show you that, like, you know, I still support you. What can I do to help you? Do you want to go sit down and eat a bite of food? You probably played golf all day. You're probably hungry. I'm like, my guy. Like,
Yeah.
Come on.
like,
Well, I mean,
that's
that's just
awesome.
Yeah, treating you like you're a real person.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a situation last week. Those who know me really well know that I struggle with sleep schedules.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to help my buddy Blake move. And I know that moving, you just moving just sucks so bad. That's why we
it
like.
sucks the life out of you.
Yeah, it's one of the least
terrible.
fun things to do. And I was supposed to help my buddy move, and he had like him and his girlfriend are moving in together, so they're moving 2 apartments into one. And I know everyone was like, yeah, dude, I'll totally be there. And we're supposed to start at like 10. That's when he was getting the U-Haul. I couldn't sleep until about 8 in the morning. And I just fucking slept through the period of time. And I hit him up and apologized and all that, but they called me like later in the evening. They said, Jacob, how did you sleep? Like my homies were just like, okay, Jacob definitely would help us. I bet he has not slept in like a day and a half or something.
Yep.
And he must have just like fell asleep at the perfect time to miss today.
It's always the perfect time. When you're ready for that
but
nap.
they were just like, "You're our boy. Like your sleep is very important. Like you have not let me down,
right?
Because I know that you would be here if it weren't for something like you super needing rest, which is something that we're aware of that happens. That's sort of. It was just I was graciously treated by friends, and yeah, just you would do that with your best friends.
Of course.
Like you can offer that to a coworker or even someone in your employee that you're in charge of. It's like, yeah, dude, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, the rest of us were here. You probably feel bad,
right?
For
forgetting,
not looking at your schedule or whatever, which is just so different than that micromanaging approach.
Yeah.
And I had an example, not to the individual. I'm not hating on her or anything, but she's my bar lead currently, and pineapple juice isn't one of our things that we sell a lot of, but we technically have it, and occasionally someone gets a little bit of pineapple juice. It's like not in any of our cocktails or anything.
Sure.
And we just have the big
Doles,
things of them. We don't have the little cans, and so
puncture both ends on them.
it's one of those things that I never see in our little prep fridge or our juice fridge. So if I get one, I assume I'm about to have to just go open up a can, and I did that, and of course there was like a deli container of pineapple juice that was in the cooler already. I didn't need to open another can. But she came in, and everyone behind that bar clearly understands that we don't do that. We don't use that a lot. So if you look at one that was open 3 days ago and one that was open last night, you're like, oh, they must have not realized this one was in here.
Yeah, sure.
That's pretty fair.
Yep.
But instead, the coworker leader was like, were you here yesterday? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, you're not supposed to open a new one when we have one right here. It's like, did you just tee me up to
You definitely got
to break me down?
Right.
Like, oh, were you here yesterday? Yeah, I was here yesterday. Yeah. Because you might say, were you here yesterday? How was it? How was the shift? You guys make good money? It's like you set me up to get to like correct. I don't. You can assume that if I ever fucking saw that, I would probably not open a new one.
Right. There's other ways to go about it.
Yeah,
too.
and it was
it's like that's the whole thing. It's like,
and that was a micromanaging thing where it's like this is the first thing you've done when you've come in is find a mistake and try to correct someone.
Yeah.
The entire motivation behind being a leader in that moment, in my opinion, is you're trying to be in charge. You're not trying to lead.
Yes, there's a big difference between wanting to be the boss and actually leading.
Yeah,
like
two entirely different. I mean, I've somewhere along the line once heard like the best leaders are the ones that are the first to follow. Like whatever, like when you have. It's like the center in a football team. Like really the best leader sometimes is the person that is supporting the quarterback the most.
Yep.
Right? Like the quarterback is the leader, but he's the front of the pack. But the best leaders are the ones that show you, oh yeah, do what this guy says.
Yeah.
That's who actually leads people and inspires other people to do the following thing is by listen to this guy.
Yeah, man.
Because that's so leadership, such an interesting concept because
it is, man.
It's a psychology.
Yeah,
it is.
It's wild. Like there's, I don't even know. Like I don't even want to say a number, but there's tons of different avenues you can pursue as being a good leader. But once again, for me, like it's a great reference with football. It's like if you look at a center on most football teams, they are typically a captain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are holding down the D line. Everyone's supporting the cause to get the play off, right? And the play is being made by the quarterback or. And unless if it's like a special teams play or something, when the play gets made, everyone like looks at the quarterback, but you really don't look at the people who allowed that play to happen. And I love now that sports have so many different angles to look at it because it makes you think when you're in the restaurant, like, damn, dude, I just wish I had like some commentators and some playbacks going on. Like, Ryan did just shovel out like 15 of those drinks, but my bar back just teed me up and saw that my vermouth had like an ounce left and my vodka was empty, sitting in the well, like he's
Yep.
spouting, filling
Yeah.
in.
Oh, come on.
And then management up front, great management team I'm working with now as well. Micah, who he's our general manager both, great friend of mine, awesome guy, love him to death, follow him till death.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, I would. But he'll just go back there and he's like, "You got it, Ryan." He's like, "I'll slow down the door for you real quick." Like little things like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude, thanks. Like, it's just like it's the foresight of it as well. So totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Synergy, baby.
Yeah, come on.
Well, guys, I think we're gonna have to start finding a way to wrap her up here.
You're trying to wrap her up?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
dude, I'm seeing like 27 more minutes in this bitch.
Can't slow these guys down from getting out of work,
You're right.
Yeah.
I think they're all gone.
They're barely ever.
Well, we wouldn't know if they're knocking on the door or not. So
That's true. It's too thick. But dude, I've loved this conversation. I think we've touched on like so many things between the leadership and just like time management stuff that we haven't gone as in depth before.
Yeah.
We touched on, but
No,
it's
that was
like,
cool. A
yeah.
lot of time when me and Chad talk, we have to plan it out.
We we got to write shit down.
is very once again, it's good flow today talking with you guys as well.
You like,
enjoy it.
how do you feel about Chick-fil-A, Ryan?
Yeah.
So Chick-fil-A is a complicated topic for me. When I was younger, they thought I had Crohn's disease, and I'm not trying to get too deep into this, but I didn't really have a good diet. Now, after going to culinary school and just working for a lot of these higher end restaurants that are putting out like quality foods and things like that, I've realized that my diet was the issue for having the issues I was having. So I cut it down to a lot of things. Like there's a lot of food that I can't eat through drive-through. Chick-fil-A and Chipotle, they're still avid on my roster. But Chick-fil-A, man, sometimes I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the oil. That sometimes that hits me wrong. I do love Chick-fil-A though. That spicy chicken sandwich is that's my go-to.
Yeah.
Well, we're here at Who the Fuck Closed Last Night. We say,
Fuck Chick-fil-A.
Fuck Chick-fil-A then.
yeah.
Specifically for those times where it hits you wrong, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck
I'm gonna
'em
start
for-
saying that.
Yeah, fuck
There is-
Chick-fil-A.
My pleasure. Fuck
Fuck
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing to say as I'm purchasing Chick-fil-A.
Some nice little Christian kids like, what just happened? That
my,
hurt.
My pleasure. My pleasure. That's
What
all
did I
can
do
say.
wrong?
That's it. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never want it till Sunday.
Yeah, that's the problem with it, Hey, can I ask you guys one question
Yeah.
real quick?
Yeah.
All right, you guys know Scary Movie 2?
Yeah.
All right, what does the guy say when he's reaching his hand out? You know what I'm talking
With
about?
the
Yeah.
little-
Uh-huh.
Oh God.
With the strong hand?
See,
Yeah.
hold on. That's
That's what he's saying, right?
No, he
No, he
said
doesn't.
everyone thinks he says, "Grab my strong hand."
Yeah.
It's like he's like, "Grab my little hand."
Grab
it's
my
that,
little
it's
hand.
what's the effect called?
Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
effect,
It
yeah.
does that. I think that applies to Chick-fil-A on Sundays. It's like you can't get it, but it's like you wake up like, I just want Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
It's like what? Like no, you can't get it.
there is another universe.
That's marketing ploy.
Yeah.
Like, we'll take one day away from you.
Yeah. In some other universe,
make you
Chick-fil-A is
want it.
open on Sundays.
Yeah, and
you
they
know?
support gay rights. That's the and that
Crazy.
It's and that's universe.
Gay filet, man.
Yeah, gay filet.
Incredible, man. Well, dude, again, thanks so much for joining us, bro. This was
Thanks for that.
yeah, thanks for that
Absolutely.
Fernet.
Yeah, dude, it's my pleasure. And
My God. Well, my
Th-
pleasure.
yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me too. I hope we can do this sometime again.
Thanks for joining us again. This has been
pleasure.
another episode of
Who the fuck
Closed last night, dude.
Wasn't me.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Featuring the living Ryan Dunn.
Yeah, no, thank you. I didn't think it was gonna come up, but here it is.
There we go.
You
Right
gotta
at the
toss
end.
it in, man.
You gotta get it in there, bro.
Yeah, jackass.
Incredible, guys.
Thank you.
Man, thank you. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Brian. Such a cool dude. So thankful for the Fernet he gave. It's already been consumed. I'm going to be honest with you. Stay tuned for our next episodes. We've got some really cool ones coming. We're going to be tackling mental health in the industry. We're going to be tackling the state of immigration. And we've got some very special places that we're going to feature in the next couple months. So stay tuned. We're closing shop.
Ain't never